Hey y'all, welcome to the video today. I went and picked this bad boy up today. I had no plans on doing this. I've been looking for one. I don't normally do trees. Every once in a while I'll do some trees, maybe some small brush, and this would have been nice. Y'all remember going back in my other videos, the lot that I had, I was using a very small chipper with a 5 horsepower motor on it. It was miserable, but in town you cannot burn, so I had it there and it did great for what I needed it to do, which is basically chip it all up. So I've been eyeballing one of these. They go anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. It's the Dr. Chipper brand, or Dr. brand. It's a chipper. And if y'all know anything about the Dr. brands, they're normally high dollar pieces of equipment. They're a decent quality put together equipment. They come at a very higher price for the average homeowner, but below what a commercial unit this size would normally run. Scrolling through Facebook and this bad boy popped up. It was $500, not running. I just kind of brushed it off, wasn't really serious, and we were on the way home and I got to thinking about it, and I've been thinking about renting some of my equipment out. It's kind of hard to rent the mini skid or stump grinder out when that's your main equipment in your business. You don't want to rent that out, because if somebody breaks it, then I can't do the main part of my business. I have the 222 out back, Vermeer 222 stump grinder, that I'm thinking about renting out eventually, but as y'all know from the other videos, the 65 horsepower Wisconsin might be going on that. Going back to this, for $500, I can rent this out on the side, make some money off of it. It's there when I need it. Not running is not that big of a deal. I'm pretty sure we can get this running fairly quick. After talking to the guy, we'll see. But the way this thing is set up, it's not actually attached to the chipping unit. It's a standalone motor that runs off of a belt drive. So if this doesn't work, I can go to Harbor Freight and get the 420 Predator motor. I think they're going for like 500 bucks, slap it up here, and I still have less in it than what they go for used on Marketplace. So we're gonna try to get this thing running here in a minute. I did a 3-hour round trip to go pick this thing up. Sorry, 4-hour round trip to go pick this thing up. I got back and it started dribbling a little bit of rain, so hopefully the rain will hold out while I'm trying to do this. I talked to the guy while the homeowners were moving to Florida. That's why they had this thing listed so cheap. And talking to him, he said they basically only used it in the winter when they did leaves and limb pickup. Before summer, they would change the oil and drain all the gas out, because I did look in the gas tank, you know, inspecting stuff out, and the gas tank was completely dry, the battery looks old. I mean, it's sun faded, so when you turn the key, nothing, so you can pretty much guess that that's no good at all. Like he said, they drained the gas and they changed the oil, so I pulled the dipstick out. Oil is fresh, and I don't know if that's trying to cover something up. You know, something goes bad, oil tells all, so you change the oil in it and then you can't really tell that easily. So I don't know, he may have just serviced it like he said. If that's the case, then this is going to be super simple. We pour gas in it, hook some jumper cables up to the battery, to the mini skid, and this should fire right off, if that is the case. I see a throttle here. It has an hour meter on it. He said the hour meter was on it before he got it. He doesn't know if it's original. It's showing 83 with a little something in front of it. It may be a 1, so it may be 183. That's it. So hopefully, like I said, put gas in it, put the jumper cables up to it, and hopefully this thing fires right up. Eventually I want to paint it, change the belts, fix the tires and stuff on it, and rent this thing out for a little bit of side income, cheaper than what they rent out the bigger commercial, but you can't rent one smaller than that I've seen so far. So this kind of falls into that category, and I think I found a little niche, however you want to say it, for this unit. I did take the belt. It spins freely. That's because the back of the motor has a clutch that doesn't engage till you get up to a certain RPM, so it does spin freely. As far as the chipper does, I can't tell about this because, like I said, I can't spin the motor over because it has that clutch on the back of it, but I did spin this. The wheel looks to be in great shape. Feeling the knife on the end of it, on the end of the flywheel, the knife feels good, still has some edge on it, so I won't have to change that out. It does look to be a directional knife, meaning you can't flip it. It only has the edge on one side, the other side's cut flat. So we may need to order another knife and belts. Stuff that has fuel lines on them, gravity feed, I do when you're testing it out, you do want to put enough fuel in there that it puts some gravity pressure on the fuel so that it pushes it down to the carb. But from what I can see, this goes straight directly into the bowl on the carburetor. So that'll be good. It's nice and wet in there. All right, so this is the first attempt. This is a big car battery, way more than this motor needs. It's a 18 horsepower V-twin. That's a 16 horsepower V-twin, and it has that little bitty lawnmower battery on it. That battery starts and runs that 16 horsepower all day long. So I know it'll be plenty enough juice to run this motor, and I don't need that big of a battery. If we have a starting issue, I think that's going to be the problem. We're not getting fuel. But let's try the ignition. All right, so I went to pull the, yeah, I see what he did here. There's already tape on this one. So I'm wondering if he bought it broke. Starter is trying to turn. I can feel it. Trying to pull the ignition coil off this side. The boot's tearing. I can already see they pulled the boot and tore it on this side because there's electrical tape on it. So I'm gonna pop the spark plugs and see if it'll turn over that way without compression. So the plan is to pull the spark plugs, that way it's not building compression, and see if that helps to let everything move a little better. The fact that it doesn't want to really move right now, I'm gonna go ahead and spray WD-40 into the cylinders, see if that'll help loosen stuff up. I can see that the starter wants to turn. Not sure if it's a lack of voltage. What? That's not good. That's not good. We got rusty spark plugs. It's not looking good. This thing does fire up. I feel like it's gonna run like crud. There's a nice little hole on the top of the air filter cover. And I've actually had this happen to a fire pump before. On our brush truck, there was a hole in the top of the gas cap. And they took the truck to a mechanic shop, and the mechanic shop left it sitting outside and ended up with water in the gas, and we ran it. It messed the motor up. Ooh. It's wet and nothing but rust. Yep, this motor's bad. Just gonna go ahead and throw it out there. Oh my gosh. There's water pouring out of the cylinder. I told you that's why they put fresh oil in it, is to hide it. There is water. I don't know if y'all can see it. There is legit water pouring out of this thing. So let's try to turn it over. Oh, I knew it. I know it's too good to be true. Ended up with another project, as my wife would say. So we're gonna try to give it a little love tap. See if we can break something free. Because like I said, this motor is more than likely already trashed. Hopefully I just didn't punch a hole through the piston. Chance it might have moved a little. There's more water coming out. See if I got a nut that'll fit on that, we can turn it over. Oh yeah, she's tight. What is going on there? Why do you spin so free? What are you hitting? Nope, broke the nut loose. Alright boys, that battery should have been enough to turn this over, but obviously we've got an issue turning it over. The rust, or a rust layer in the cylinder past a certain point, I can turn it the flywheel about a full turn almost, and then it hits that spot where it's rusted above and it won't go past. It's starting to loosen up, I can feel it. Oh, I had to switch over to the battery charger. I'm only pushing about 50 amps right now. That's more than enough for right now because I can tell that it's messing with the starter. When it hits that lockup point, it'll turn when it's free. That's all it needed. That's all it needed. We're spinning. It looks nasty in there. It's spinning free. We may have just gotten this thing running. Obviously, the spark plugs are no good at all. Ants are coming out. So that's awesome. This is my first revival on video. This is awesome. This one actually doesn't look that bad. I'm gonna run some sandpaper through it, see if I can clean it up. This one looks bad, but I think it might be manageable to clean up with some sandpaper or file, torch file or something. All right, here we go, moment of truth. So what we'll do is we'll pull the plugs out, put the coil back on it, hold it against the side of the motor, turn the key, see what kind of spark we're getting, if we're getting any at all. So I've got spark on this cylinder. That's good. We're going to test spark on this cylinder. Ooh, we got spark. Alright, so I got ATF sitting in the cylinders. I'm gonna let it sit for the next day or so, just try to loosen some things up some more. I got a feeling it's gonna be a compression issue. Maybe fuel. Again, I haven't really messed with the fuel, but the brake cleaner, we should have saw some reaction from the brake cleaner. It's turning over slower with the spark plugs in, which tells me it has some kind of compression to it. But I've got to go to work tomorrow. I've still got to change the oil in the car and spend some time with the family before I go off for my 24-hour shift. So we're gonna let it sit with ATF. I'm not gonna leave the charger out because it's raining, and not that the charger's gonna do anything to that dead battery. But yeah, so we're gonna let ATF sit. I'm gonna enjoy some family time, change the oil in the car, go to work, and then we'll try to come back to this on Wednesday. Appreciate y'all watching. If this is the end of this video, maybe we'll get it running on the next.